Right, we're going to be talking bamboo and my thoughts on it, and these are just my opinion. I like the look of bamboo, and when I started my tropical garden journey 8-9 years ago, started to get into the tropicals. You watch, you look at some gardens, you watch some videos, and sort of bamboo is a must-have. Like any plant that pays you to do your research. What I would say is, for me, I don't like bamboo enough to justify the problems that come with it. So I'm gonna, over the next few weeks, I'm gonna try and get rid of all my bamboo. And I say try. There's three main ways to get rid of it, but first of all I'll show you the problems I'm having. So this is sort of down the back side of my house, and it is this particular clump. I made a specific raised planter for it. It is open at the bottom. I thought I'll let the roots go down, get lots of nutrients and water from the natural ground level, but also try and contain it in this sort of trough planter. It's done very well. As we can see, it's quite tall. And I thought naively that the rhizomes were fairly shallow, and people will say you can trench around bamboo, and as the rhizomes come out you can just cut them off. Maybe some types of bamboo, but this is, I don't know exactly what species it is, what type, but it is a running bamboo. So it is sort of tight clustering for the first few years, and it'll just send out shoots, and it does really run. But anyway, so yeah, I thought this is 1.5 foot, 18 inches raised, so I thought that'd be enough. The rhizome sort of 6 inches under the ground, that'll stop that from traveling anywhere. Nope, I was wrong. So with bamboo, you can't contain it unless you can't get the proper bamboo barrier, and I'd go for the widest or deepest grade you can get, because they will push under things. If they hit a barrier, they'll go up over it or under it. So just looking a bit closer at here, so this is a wooden raised plant, and we can see here we've got a couple of sprouts pushed their way through the wood and starting to come out. So what I obviously don't want is any of this rhizome going into my foundations, because you'd be looking at thousands of pounds worth of damage and problems getting it out. So again, 18 inches raised, and we've got a cane that's obviously hit the side and come out the bottom. So that is a big alarm bell for me. This is not staying, this is gonna have to come out. And I have already had another a shoot come out over here, so I know it's gone under, probably about 2 foot underground, and come back out. But let's look at the main clump. I have got, again, in a raised trough at the back of this new palm bed, I've got the same bamboo in a trough. That's all going to come out. But the main clump down the bottom of the garden here, I'm going to try and estimate the height. It's 2 feet taller than the Phoenix canariensis, so it's going to be about 12 to 14 foot tall. And it looks okay where it is, but the issue is it's starting to run, and that's going to annoy the neighbours, and it's already annoying me. The shoots, I mean, I like the clump there, That's doing a good job, so I've got a big shed behind there sort of covering that up, but it's going to have to go. So originally, like I say, the main clump is here, and it stayed pretty tight around this area. And when I planted this, it's actually I had an old, when I moved in we had a big greenhouse, and that is the footings. So there's a couple of feet down brick footings for the greenhouse, and I thought that would be enough to contain it. Nope. So I've either gone over it or under it, and we're getting canes coming up everywhere now. And this one has been in for a good few years, and I'm going to say about 6 or 7. So it's really established. Yeah, don't get me wrong, it doesn't look bad. I quite like the look of it, but that doesn't outweigh the problems it's going to cause. So I recently, beginning of the year, I sort of redone the this sort of slabbed area here, and I did pull out a lot of the rhizomes which were starting to come this way. Obviously I didn't get them all, because what's happening is I'm getting, this is bamboo shooting up, and as it's been shooting up I've been just snapping off and pulling it out to try and take the energy out of it. But anyway, so 3 ways you can attack this. Is going to be an instant effort for me is going to be digging it out. So let's just explore the 3 options. So you've got one which is instant removal straight away. 2, you can cut back the canes and put a herbicide, something to kill it, you know, weed killer down, you know, cut the cones off and drop some weed killer down it, and hopefully that'll kill a bit of the rhizome, but that won't go along the whole root system and rhizome system, so that'll only kill a small proportion of it. The 3rd option is a long, slow process, which will work. And just to go into a bit of a detail, the rhizomes, obviously the underground root system of the bamboo, so that's where the energy is stored. And obviously in the spring they'll shoot out the new cones, and they get the energy from photosynthesis as they grow. So what you can do is, the first initial attack would be to cut it all down, and you could do that any time of the year. And then in the spring, with the rhizome underground, that's going to get all the new shoots, and you want to let them grow to a point where they're about to leaf out. So they put a lot of energy from the underground rhizome into them new shoots, and some of these shoots could be 10-15 foot tall plus, depending on what type of bamboo you've got. So all that energy from the rhizomes is going to go into their new shoots, and before they can photosynthesize with the leaves, just as they're about to open the leaves up, cut them all down again, and that'll really zap the energy out of the rhizome. And then you can do that, repeat every time it tries to grow. Let it go to the height before it starts the leaves, cut it down again, and that could take 2 or 3 years, but eventually it will kill it, because that won't have any energy to keep growing, basically. So you're sort of slowly killing it off. That's a real slow, long term. My course of plan is going to be, I'm going to cut all the combs down, so I'm going to cut them right down to ground level, and I'm going to dig out the main clump. So I'll be taking out all the rhizome in this area and disposing of, and any shoots that I see anywhere coming up I'm going to cut right down. And so I'm not going to be able to dig up everything and take up all the slabs and all the decking, because that is underneath the decking as well. But all I can do is as it starts to pop out, I am going to cut back and put some weed killer on it, so that will go down and kill a little bit of the rhizome. And again, that's going to be a long-term project over the next year or two. But if I can get rid of the main clump, which is getting most of its energy from, that's going to be a good start, and that's going to be instant, getting rid of the main bulk of it. So yeah, what I'm going to be doing today is cutting everything off at ground level, and I'm going to have a little dig about and see what I can get out. And for all you people who are sitting there smug thinking, oh, that's right, I've got a clump and bamboo, that's not going to be an issue. No, they're not going to run so much, but they will bulk out over time. And if there comes a time when you want to get rid of it, in a way, clump and bamboo is worse than running, because they're so tightly woven, the rhizomes, that that's just like basically like concrete. That's rock hard, and I've seen people try and get rid of it, and that'll take weeks to dig it out, unless you've got, you know, decent hardcore equipment. Anyway, so that's my thoughts. I know a lot of you love bamboo, and you know why you can get rid of it, but I think I've gone through the reasons why. For me, it's not a plant that I really love. Yeah, I like it, but in my garden, and it is just my opinion, but it is my garden, so I can do what I like. That's all gonna go. I'm gonna get rid of all this bamboo, and that'll give me a chance for something else to go in its place. So I'm now gonna attack that, and yeah, I'll probably do an update video after. So that's the big clump. So I'm just attacking this clump at the minute. The other two clumps further down the garden, they are contained a little bit, so we'll see how this one goes, and depending on how hard or easy this job is, I do intend to get rid of the other two clumps this year as well at some point. Right, so it's not going to be easy, but I am going to one by one cut them all down. I've got a decent pair of loppers, and that we'll just cut them all down and attack the rhizomes and see how we go. It's going to be a hard graft, but it is something that's got to be done. Right, so we'll leave the video there. Let me know if you've had any nightmares with bamboo, or you know, if you love it, you know, that's understandable. It is a nice plant, just not for me in my garden. Right, thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.